30% battery life, but we should make it how to remove a rear end out of a Nissan 240SX. I know S14s, S13s, a lot of them are all the same. This gives you a general gist of how to do it. So here we go, step by step. Step one, I would say, is finding the jacking point on your car, whether you have to remove your bumper or not, depending how modified your vehicle is. But find the jack point, get it up in the air as high as possible. The higher it is, the easier it is for you. And then make sure you secure it with some jack stands. Besides safety reasons, you're going to want to secure it with jack stands because you're going to need your jack to get it out. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this as easy for you to see as possible. This right here is your rear end. I know we're tight under here. There's your axle. There's your other axle. Now my axle nuts are going to look a little bit different just because I have the villain stub with the 350Z axles. So either way, you got to get these nuts out. They're 14 mils. So 14 millimeter. I like to use a ratcheting wrench and a regular wrench. The easiest way to do it. So I get those out first because they're annoying. And then after that, again, hard for you to see, but right there is the diff. Not the diff itself, but the drive shaft, excuse me. So the drive shaft is right there, connected to the diff, and you're going to want to get that out. So diff, drive shaft, axle, and axle. So here we go. Alright, for your driver's side, you can see a little bit here. It makes it easier. You could see before that the axle back exhaust or the whole exhaust itself runs past the diff. So just to make it easier on yourself, pulling the exhaust down isn't a bad idea. For me, obviously my car is swapped, so my setup's a little bit different, but what I'll do here is just pull the exhaust hangers off. And I'll set the exhaust down like so. So that area is completely free. So now we'll take that side apart just like the other side, and then we'll move forward to the drive shaft section. Alright, so without my hands getting in the way too much for you guys here, you can see this is the drive shaft right here, spinning freely because both axles are disconnected. But it depends how you want to do it. Some people like to pull the sway bar off, which I may end up doing anyways. The sway bar is literally two 14s, and then the end links, which are 10 millimeters. So sway bar is very easy to get off, but if you're able to work around it, obviously it's one less step. Not saying that that's always the case. With the sway bar out, it is one easier thing as well when it comes time to actually drop the diff out. Alright, so now we're getting tight down here, but this is your rear diff. That's where your drive shaft mates up. There's one bolt. These might look different, these bolts here, depending on if it's a bushing style or not, but there's one bolt. Obviously the exact same thing on the other side there. And then you're going to see these guys. So those are all 17s, I believe. So 17 and a 17. 17 and a 17, and your drive shaft, or excuse me, your rear diff will be loose. So we'll take those out now. All right, we're gonna loosen up these rear ones first. I believe I said in my last clip that they were 17s. That is incorrect, they're 19s. The other catch is you cannot use a 1/2 inch wrench for this. If you use a 1/2 inch wrench where your trunk comes up to your subframe, it won't make it. So use a smaller wrench with a 19 on it. Get these guys loose. Whether they're completely off or not, the diff is still going to sit there. So feel free to completely take them off in this moment, because they're going to have to come off anyways. All right, and then next we'll actually support it with the jack before we go any further. All right, I'm gonna get the jack on there. Now my best advice for this is most of the weight's in the back of the differential itself. So you are gonna want this towards the back, but still slightly, you'll get the idea of the balance itself. Still slightly forward, just because obviously if it's not balanced the best, it's going to fall. And then now we can take apart those other two bolts that are further forward on the diff. And those two are 17s. So your rears are 19s and your fronts are 17s. So now we'll do that. So I know I'll be mostly in the way of the camera on you guys for this one, but I don't want the camera necessarily under the car during this portion. Let's see if I can get my arm under there. They are long bolts. If you have an impact, spins them out way faster. All right. Now it's all loose. So once you break it free like that from the drive shaft, you can move the drive shaft down out of the way. Alright guys, just because it's giving me a difficult time, I am going to pull down this sway bar. Makes your life a lot easier. I know it's one more step, but it does save you a bunch of time. I shouldn't say time, it saves you a bunch of headaches. Typically, if you're lucky, which I'm hoping we're lucky tonight, you are able to just disconnect one side completely, and it gives you enough space to, oh, that's a 12. It gives you enough space to do what you're trying to accomplish. So you can see there, just like that, frees up the diff, frees up the drive shaft. We get a jack on it and slide it out. You can see it's passed. The bolt holes, you slowly let it down. Oh, or quickly let it down. Slide it off the sway bar and slide it out of the car. You guys have yourself a diff removal right there. Alright guys, I want to make a quick video here for you with the diff out of the car. I wanted to show it to you when it was open, but I did all that part at work, so sorry about that. This is obviously one stub side. It's going to look different from yours. This is a 350Z stub swap. This is where the differential connects up to. So 4 bolts for the differential, 6 bolts for a stub, 6 bolts for the other stub. These 2 bolts hold it up underneath the car. And these ones are the ones that hold it into the subframe. Subframe, diff, car, axle stubs. So there you guys go. There's your diff breakdown. Hopefully it all makes sense to you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thank you.